in 2018, the GPs with the General Medical Service negotiated a new contract.
They made their own contract, yeah.
Yes, and this changed things, but people aren't aware of it. So if we can get out as quickly as we can, the information that's happening, that they should have got in 2018, how people living with dementia and the people who are supporting them can navigate their GPs, what their human rights are. And we will mention, I think, in the booklet as well, that they're entitled to a dementia review. They're going to, in 2021, renegotiate new terms. So we want to make people give power to the people and our care partners, and they're calling themselves not GPs, but they're calling themselves generalists. And it was written in, see that paperwork you sent us, Martin, that Nancy ploughed through last night and all the last couple of days and highlighted it. It's in that.
The 2 strands, okay? Yeah. A half-hour annual review and the specialist dementia nurse in each surgery.
The front cover says what it says in the can, what we're doing, discussing the content is, we say the introduction, right, which is basically why we're doing the booklet. Why did the alumni decide? We didn't just decide out of the blue. There was a reason behind it. What is this booklet for? You know, well, it's to help you get to know and inform you about your GP practice and the changes and how you can navigate it as a person living with dementia. Who is this booklet for? Well, it's for anyone who damn well wants to read it, but most especially for people living with dementia, so they know what's going on and their care partners. And then and Nancy, then we're going to talk about the refreshed role, and I'm using the terminology that the professionals are using. The refreshed role of the GPs, the refreshed role of the practice nurse, the refreshed role of the staff, the practice manager and the receptionist, because they're being given massive amounts of more work to be able to do. And then your GP practice is buying in help, right? Or the NHS board are paying for people to assist the practice, and they're calling them specialist team. And then we've got the GP online service that we'll need to bring in about this clear view or clear to see you or whatever, and the different types of appointments. I think that to cover that in the booklet, and then putting links to where we got the research from. Where we got it from, we got it from Martin. You done all the research or a lot of the research, and we just put links to everywhere where we got it so they can read it up if they like. You know, so to let them see we didn't make it up.
So Agnes, would you like me to make a first draft, a very rough first draft of the booklet and the report?
Yes, please. I kind of put a framework out to you of what I thought.
Yeah, so if I follow that and follow the self-management booklet as a template, and follow that to make a rough first draft of that and the report to show what we did, then you can all feed in and change it as you want.
Yeah, and we put it people who did and people who've had a good
result from it.
Yeah, so we do it in a balanced way. This isn't hitting GPs, it's to inform others in Scotland what their rights are, to navigate and get the best out of their GP practice after they've had a diagnosis of dementia, because it is dementia, you know.
We're going to have to this is what you can expect. You should expect.
Yeah, as we go through this process, I'm recording the video, so there might be little clips that I can save and put together in a bigger video at the end to show this was our research, these were the conversations, these are people's experiences, you know, so that's what I'm sort of saving up at the moment.
I'm puzzled about the word practice. I know a surgery where there's only one doctor run by herself, that's a practice. Where I go to one doctor, there's 4 in their practice, and their practice is within a group of about 3 other practices, 3 other groups. So
that's
the one
called
that
a cluster.
I was going to ask, as a cluster, so they can all go together, I think as ours does, and hire somebody that won't get used all day. Say, for example, there's a lone GP, they won't employ a specialist dementia nurse, sit around all day, they might see 1 person a day. So I've got to think about them and maybe them getting access to some other surgery. I had a feeling with the report that they were trying to encourage GPs to go together, so they can share facilities. I mean, in my own practice, the doctor or a practice nurse doesn't take blood. If they go to a separate person, that everybody from all these 4 groups go to get blood.
Remember, it's a business, and it's economical for all your GPs to bandy together to buy phlebotomists, and it might be 4 phlebotomists and what have you, to take the bloods. I just want to be able to use my GP, and I know it's my human right to access that.
So we need to write that book, but they won't have the resources at the moment. So once we've written the book, we then do have to go and fight. We will have to help them.
What we're doing is we're gathering together information that you should expect to receive when you contact your GP.
Yes.
So I'm quite clear about that. And so we've got to gather in what are available.
It's not about getting a diagnosis of dementia. It's not about the tests that you're entitled to get a diagnosis of dementia. The booklet is not about post-diagnostic support. It's about how to navigate and use your GP surgery. But part of that is you get up to 15-minute annual dementia review. That's the only thing that your GP at the moment has to provide. And it's legal, Martin. People with dementia are supposed to get it. Yeah. It's not you might get it, you should get it. It is set in stone because the working group fought for it. It's set in stone, you're supposed to get it. Maybe the question should be, in the General Medical Service contract in Scotland, they talked about everything is based on the 4 C's. Do you remember reading that, Martin? It jumped out.
I can't remember it's jargon, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the 4 C's. And if we base our questions on the 4 C's, and the 4 C's are, I think it's like access, gaining access. I wrote it down here. Gaining access.
Contact, comprehensiveness, continuity, and coordination.
Well done, Nancy. I'm glad we had that conversation last night.
I found them.
Yes.
Contact, comprehensiveness, continuity, and coordination.
Yes. And everything
was the questions that may be asked when you go for a review. These are questions you could be asked when you go for a GP review. Do you want me to try and send to people?
No, I got that. I've got it somewhere in my folders. Mm-hmm. I think we've all got a copy somewhere, I think.
Yeah. So what I feel is that, Paula, if we keep everything based on what Martin done and keep the terminology based on everything that we all read, this general medical service contract in Scotland, and we use their terminology, then they can't complain. Nancy, you tired, Tim?
Oh, I'm shattered.
You out.
Speak too well.
Right?
We've
Have
worn
you
you
been
out.
doing your gardening? What have you been doing to make yourself so tired?
Oh, I've been reading all these documents that Martin sent.
Oh, it's
That's right,
Martin's
blame me.
fault. It's Martin's fault. Are you listening, Martin?
Have you had the second set yet, Nancy?
Have I had what?
Have you had the second set through the post yet?
I think so. I think, yes, one around, yeah.
You're going to worry now.
Do you have a timing for our next Zoom?
We'll set one up. When do you want one? When would you like one?
I think I'll need at least a couple of weeks to recover from all the reading I've been doing.
Me too. I need about 2 weeks to get through all this work you've just given me.
Yeah.
One of the things we'll be looking at is the future. How are we going to work with the health service and GPs? I know, what do we expect from them? Now, I started an article this morning, and it's not ready to send to you because I haven't finished it. And one of the important items changed while I was about an hour into writing it, a fact. So we're hitting a moving target all the time now with this, the COVID and dementia. Who gets priority?
Yes, Agnes.
I think an answer to that, James, is that if the GP would learn to communicate to their, what are we, GP clients? I don't know, patients. Their patients, if they would learn to communicate now, it would be dead easy. Things are changing, yes, they are, James, and they're looking at, and I've got things written out about you can opt in to get a telephone conversation or a Zoom conversation, or they call it something near to me or something like that. We're not going back to the way it was, right? And people like us with dementia need to get our needs met, and they ain't going to get it met if we don't let our GP know what our issues are and how they need to meet it. And that is the big issue, and communicating is one of the big things, What would be helpful, because the GP is really looking for, they're busy, they don't really have time, and if they knew what we needed, maybe they would provide it. So they don't know what they don't know, and we don't know what we don't know anymore how our practice works, because it's all changed over the years, and they never told us it changed. It wasn't until COVID that we found out loads of things in the practice had changed, because we never get a notification. How can we assist them to provide the best care possible for us?
Exactly.
That's what I feel.
Yeah, and James, you were going to answer that.
It's just a technical question. We're needing a new computer. We can't get one, obviously things die down, but sometimes in the middle of a meeting, it just goes dead, and it's about 2 hours before it comes back to life. So it disappears suddenly. That's what happened.
Ah, right.
I've gone to Life Changes for a new one.
So
I don't think they do that.
Kim, is there any way that people who have dementia or other people in your practice could get access to some kind of tech equipment if more appointments are going online, or if your service is going online? What if people don't have access to that? How will they?
I know there's nobody addressing that question. Through sort of COVID, I've phoned all our patients who are living with dementia and mild cognitive impairment and invited them to join our memory cafe, which we put on Zoom, but so many either can't do it or haven't got the technology, and of course their families couldn't go in to assist them either. But I think they need to have a separate system for those that can't work what they're offering, and I think for dementia that is so important, that they just have a direct line to a named person and you can ring in with your problem.
There does seem to be a bit of an opportunity for redesign, doesn't there? Because if the GPs are actually doing more online appointments, and there might actually be some time to be saved or some money to be saved in that way, which means that it could be sort of reshuffled to another area where it's more needed. So it's a good time to be doing this project, because your influence and your knowledge will actually could actually really influence the way that the service is redesigned to suit the situation, which could go on for a very long time.
What duties should your GP provide for you? Do you know what I mean? Just to understand, because we all think, I've been with my GP, I was born into the practice and I never changed it. I'm changing now. And how can you find out what your GP rating is?
Well, it should be on their website.
I'm having a look at my GP website right to this minute, okay? And it says annual comprehensive review for diabetes, annual comprehensive review for heart disease. The word dementia is not mentioned anywhere, and I mean anywhere.